Hello, my fellow overthinkers. As the queen of overthinking, I'm here to talk to you about some things that have helped me when it comes to overthinking. If you are an overthinker, you know the struggle. It's a frustrating thing to deal with every day. Someone very wise once told me, if you're going to overthink, you might as well think big. I think that might be one of my favorite quotes and one that I need to hear. My friends are always calling me out, which I appreciate, about how I am an overthinker and worry about things. I think it's a bit of a anxiety thing. I don't know. Maybe I don't exactly know what to classify overthinking as. I guess look at me overthinking. Clearly, as you can tell, this is still something that I struggle with. I've come a long way. I have. But it is one of those things that I have a problem with because I am a perfectionist and I want everything to be perfect and I want to live a perfect life where everything looks perfect and I'm always put together and everything's great, but that's not realistic, right? That's the issue, is when you're looking at life in an unrealistic way and you have unrealistic expectations for yourself and for others and everything. That's a problem. Checking my notes here. The number one thing that I want to say when it comes to overthinking, if you are someone who lives in alignment with who you say you are or who you want to be, if you are honest and you're a good person, I'm going to sneeze on that. I'm recovering from a little cold or something, so I'm still a little bit stuffy. I think I sound a little bit congested still. Although I did take this nasal spray last night. I went from not being able to breathe through my nose, like at all, major headache from all the congestion. I just took 3 sprays in each nostril and I was like, oh my God, I can breathe through my nose. I can kind of breathe through my nose right now, but I should probably take some more. That stuff really works. The congestion tablet or anti-congestion, whatever, the tablets, I don't know why they even make those. They don't work at all. The sprays work really well. Just throwing that out there. A lot of people are sick right now. You never know. If you are living in alignment with who you are, who you say you are honest, you are a good person, you don't screw people over, you don't manipulate people, you don't take advantage of people, all these things, right? There's not so much to worry about, right? That's something you could find a lot of comfort in if you overthink a lot. If you are a good person, and chances are, I'm saying that because chances are you are probably those things, because overthinkers tend to be really good people and they're just worried about things because they are really good people. And the people who are not overthinkers, they're the ones who probably should think a little bit more than they do because they're not the most considerate and they kind of use people and are kind of exploitative and all these things, right? So take a lot of comfort in that. That's helped myself greatly, is thinking, you know what, why am I so worried about this text message, how it sounds, or trying to think of some other classic examples that we tend to overthink about. An interaction with another person. Oh my gosh, maybe they thought this because I said that. Stuff like that. That tends to be how the people that I know, and myself included, are the things that they overthink about. But again, if you are a good person and you are who you say you are and you believe you are and who you're trying to be, there's not much to worry about. And every now and then you're probably going to offend somebody anyway. You can't really live a life without risking offending someone, at least, especially if you're trying to help them or you're trying to point something out or whatever. yeah, they might get offended or they might not like how you said something. But if you know the intention was good and you're a good person, no one's going to look at you differently and be like, I don't think this person is nice, or they were so rude to me. And maybe they do, but it's such a short moment anyway. It's like, why dwell on that? That was a very important point that I wanted to cover today. And it almost sounds so simple, right? If you're overthinking, just stop overthinking, right? But it really is just about soothing yourself, comforting with yourself with the fact that you can't control everything. Not everything is in your control, the outcome and how someone feels about you. But what you are in control of is who you are, sticking to your morals and your values, making sure that you're always a good person and you're coming from a good place. And then everything else is like, well, it's out of your hands, but you also know and take comfort in the fact that you know you are who you say you are and you're a good person, so you don't have to worry about it so much. My next thing I want to get to, I want to give a little shout out to my brother, probably my biggest supporter. I love him dearly. If I can count on one listener, it is my brother. He is super supportive. I love him dearly. He's very honest and is quick to point things out when he doesn't like things or, how I can improve, but he's also very encouraging, and I really like that. I really appreciate that in him. And something that he told me recently, which at the time I don't think I was quite ready to hear it, or I wasn't at a point in my journey of life to deal with it, but he told me that something that he's worked on in himself in life is putting himself in situations that help him grow, and putting himself in situations that are quite uncomfortable, right? With dealing with other people's emotions and their anger or their frustration or whatever. And I thought that was kind of crazy because I was like, why would you do that? And in my head and where I was at, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to avoid all that because I'm not ready for that. I have so much that I haven't dealt with in my life, trauma and all this other stuff that I'm still sorting through. I'm still working through a lot. And I just didn't feel like I was strong enough to put myself into those situations purposely. But as I've grown as a person, I've come to realize that that's exactly what I need. I have also been able to grow from a lot of the stuff that I've been through and work through that, so I'm a lot stronger. But I also think that if you want to be strong, there's so much background noise, it's wildly distracting. If you want to be a strong person, you don't become a strong person by avoiding uncomfortable situations. You have to go through it and you have to strengthen the muscle. And I don't know if this is being picked up on the mic or not. Anyway. Oh my goodness. It's quite simple and obvious if you talk about a physical muscle, right? If you go to the gym and you pick up a weight repeatedly and then you keep picking up that weight over the next few days and weeks, your muscle is the fibers are going to rip and the muscle's going to become bigger, right? We all know that's how it works. That's how your muscle grows. Literally, that's how it happens. So if we think of it in a figurative sense or in a more emotional journey kind of way, of course it would be the same thing. And how would it be any different? If you want to be a stronger person, you have to go through uncomfortable things. You have to rip the muscle. You have to tear it. You have to go through uncomfortable situations. Because if you avoid it, you're not going to become any stronger. And that ties into the topic, I think, with overthinking. You can't avoid these situations. As I opened this episode with, I was talking about how I try to be this perfect person and everything has to be perfect in every text message, and I want to avoid conflict and avoid all these things. It's like, yeah, that sounds great, but that's not realistic. You can't really avoid all uncomfortable situations in life. It just doesn't work that way. You have to deal with situations that you don't want to deal with people you don't want to deal with. That's part of life. And putting yourself in those situations and focusing on who it is you are, who it is you want to be and become. Maybe you're not quite there yet, but who is it that you want to become? And focusing on that and embody that person. That's really how you become who you want to be, right? Like if you want to be fit, then you have to embody a fit person. What does a fit person do? Well, they go work out. They eat healthy. They make sure they eat enough protein. It's kind of fundamentally that simple, right? It's hard work, but the idea of it is quite simple and straightforward. Same goes with this. If you overthink and you're always worried about people and what they're thinking and, I don't want to upset them, then you have to keep putting yourself in these situations that help strengthen you and toughen you up so that you realize, okay, I'm good. I'm a good person. I do the right thing. I say the right thing. I'm honest. I'm kind. I take care of other people. I don't deliberately say rude things or offend or disrespect people. Does that mean it's inevitable? Does that mean you're never going to offend somebody? No, it happens. But again, if you know that you are staying true to you, you don't have to worry about it. As I'm recording this, I'm not 100% sure what the title is going to be, but I was thinking of something along the lines of the overthinking cure or the cure to overthinking. There's a book called that, which is on my reading list. I haven't gotten to it yet. I would like to read it. So I don't think I can copy that title word for word, but I'll probably do some variation of it because I think it's quite clever. Although I do want to point out that this is not the cure for overthinking. This is more like an Advil. This will help you with the symptoms, but it's not gonna cure it by any means, because I don't think I'm qualified to talk about that. I do, like I said, I do still overthink. I still have to use these tricks a lot and work on myself. I just like to share things because I think it has more power, our message, when we are going through it ourselves. I know trainers who, like physical trainer, like, personal trainers who have put on 40, 50 pounds just to be supportive and work alongside their client to show, hey, this is possible, you can do this. And I think that's quite an extreme approach to take, but it helps people, right? Like when we see someone else going through it, I think makes us feel validated. It makes us feel like we're being seen and understood, right? Okay, they're going through it too. This isn't some person talking to me about this who's an expert and has never struggled a day in their life. That's how I think, at least. So that was my kind of thought behind this topic and why I wanted to share it. It is something I struggle with myself. I've come a long way, but every now and then my brain likes to, but what if they think, oh, what if that, or what if, it's always the what ifs, right? It's like, shut up, go away. So hopefully what I shared with you today will help you along the way. If you have any tricks that you've learned, please share them with me. I'm all ears. Like I said, I still need to improve in this area, so I'll take any help I can get, any tricks. But it really just comes down to changing our mindset, approaching things differently, taking deep breaths, telling ourselves that this isn't worth stressing over, these little things. We don't have to worry about every little message and every little interaction. And did I offend them? And walk away. What if they think this? Or what if they're going to that? And overthinking can also expand into, what if I fall and hit my head and die tomorrow? Sometimes I have thoughts like that. I'll be walking up the stairs. I have this fear of my teeth falling out. I have a lot of dreams of my teeth falling out too, which I've been told means that you've said something that you can't take it back. I don't know. Some people believe in all these theories with dreams and that they mean something. I don't know. But I do kind of have a fear of my teeth falling out. So when I walk up the stairs, sometimes I have a fear that I'm going to trip and all my teeth are going to shatter or something. I don't know. It's kind of crazy to think about because the odds of that happening are very low. But I know a lot of people who are just, they think about that stuff all day. They're just like, what if an asteroid falls out of the sky and hits us? And it's like, well, yeah, what are you going to do? You can't prevent that. You yourself can't do anything about that. So there's no sense in agonizing over it. And I know it sounds so simple, right? It's like, well, don't, if you have anxiety, stop having anxiety. It's like, well, yeah, it is kind of what the advice is. I get that that's kind of how it sounds. But as someone who struggles with this, I have to remind myself too, I'm not thinking about that. We're not going to think about that. We're not worrying about that. Let's worry about something we can focus on, something tangible, something that I can actually control. What if it rains tomorrow? Okay, let me grab an umbrella. Let me be prepared. If an asteroid is going to fall and hit the earth or fall out of the, space, whatever, I cannot do anything about that. I'll be lucky if I survive. No sense in even thinking about it. And if you are easily triggered by those things, then try not. 1 second. As I was saying, if you're easily triggered by that kind of doomsday or worrying about that stuff, don't consume that content. Try to stay away from the news. That's my other advice here. I don't consume the news. I haven't consumed really the news since I was in my teens. I made it a point, I guess, to not consume the news anymore. I figured if something is important enough, I will hear about it from other people. Doesn't help for me to consume it because of how I know how I consume the news. I'll just sit there and cry because there have been times that I do consume the news, or I whether it's on YouTube or however I see it, and I'll just sit there and cry, and I'm emotional, and I hear about all this horrible stuff that goes on, and it makes me feel helpless. I'm like, I can't do anything. I can only do my part. I can only try to put out good in the world and treat people with respect and try to do my best, but I can't do anything about all these things that are happening. So I can't even consume it, I try to just avoid it because I'm like, it's not going to help me or them or anyone. That doesn't mean I don't care. There's a difference. That doesn't mean that I don't care. It just means that I have to accept that there's just certain things I can't do anything about it. And I don't think there's any sense in feeling guilty for that. Like, oh, I feel so guilty, I can't do this. And that's also overthinking, right? It's like, oh, I feel so guilty and this and this. It's like, you have to learn to let things go, deep breathing, and try to occupy yourself with things that are important to you. When you catch yourself in these overthinking loops and you're agonizing over things that you can't control, maybe it's a sign that you need to have more productivity, right? That you need more things to do. The busier you are, the more things. It sounds like they're like tearing apart a building right outside the door. I really hope this is not being picked up because it's wildly annoying for me. Anyway, yeah. I think it might be a sign that you need to work on you, work out, work on a project, pick up a hobby, go out with a friend. That's a big thing too. Hang out with people, that's important. Sometimes we isolate ourselves so much and we go into these little holes and we're just sitting there thinking about all this negative stuff. It's like, get out, get some fresh air, turn some music on. Sometimes, man, just turning on music will just change my whole day. I start dancing and completely changes my mood. Or just going on a walk, getting some fresh air, the little things. I'm gonna go now because this background noise is so distracting and annoying. I hope you were able to take something with you today. I wish you good luck in your own journey, your life journey, and working on yourself. I know this stuff is hard. Take a deep breath. No, you've got this. You can overcome anything you set your mind to. I believe in you, and I will talk to you soon.